Good afternoon and many thanks for making time for KTN NewsDesk. It is the 10th day of October 2013, what would have been called Moi Day. My name is Bonny Tunya and you're on the NewsDesk. Hello. Coming up on this bulletin, we have a lot of stories to unpackage for you, but we'll start at the courts where a case by journalist Walter Barasa challenging his extradition kicks off today. Also, we'll go where we have an announcement where Bungoma, Matungulu, Borabu and Bomachoge by-elections dates have been set by the IEBC. And finally, we'll tell you a bizarre story of a case where a driver has been beating up a policeman caught on camera.
Who's in the studio in the first place?
Right, welcome to the program. We start at the courts where the High Court has begun hearing the case of journalist Walter Barasa, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court of allegations of witness tampering. Barasa is seeking to have the arrest warrant issued against him revoked by the Kenyan government. Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Ole Lenku received the warrant from the ICC and forwarded it to the judiciary. The courts granted Barasa State Council security until his case is heard and determined, and we'll be getting back to that particular story with Mahmoud Mohammed, who has been camping at the courts and will be bringing us the very latest as in what has been determined. But we do know that that particular matter will be determined on Friday. Moving on, a section of lawmakers led by Leader of Majority in Parliament, Aden Duale, says Parliament will not relent on its effort to pull Kenya out of the Rome Statute. Duale disclosed that a draft bill seeking to squash enforcement of the International Crimes Act and effectively withdraw Kenya from the Rome Statute will be introduced in the National Assembly in just 2 weeks. The legislators criticized former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan for warning African countries against quitting the Rome Statute, adding that the Hague-based court was indeed imperialist and only targeted African states.
That is one. Two.
Withdraw, and it will see the legislative process through to the end. And I want to say that the draft bill that will formally withdraw the Kenya as a country from the ICC, from the Rome Statute, already is in place, and it will be brought before Parliament anytime next week or the other week. Now, if other African countries decide to do the same in their summit this weekend in Addis, that is within their right as countries and within the Rome Statute. And they won't and they don't need to seek permissions from anybody, including Kofi Annan, who in our opinion has left his country of origin, Ghana, 35 years ago. He is not even an African. He's just a white man. He is only wearing the skin, but he is more of a white man. So he cannot lecture African leaders. In any case, the Rome Statute is not a pact with Almighty God. It was done by men and women, and it can only be undone by the same men and women.
The Commission on Administrative Justice today signed an MOU with the Kenyan School of Governance to train public officials. The collaborative effort will involve a joint training at the national and county governments levels in order to enhance capacity for service delivery, in addition to conducting a joint research to inform the promotion of good governance. Chair of the Commission, Otiende Amolo, says the two institutions will pool resources and comparative strengths using their different mandates and improve and promote transformative leadership in the country.
We are focusing on collaboration in training and collaboration in research. There are instances where we need to train public officers on a variety of things. First, complaints handling. If as a public officer, a member of the public has a complaint against you or against your office, how do you do it even before they come to us? And how do you remedy that complaint?
Next is a story of wonder, and a routine adjustment at an irrigation scheme in Houma Bay's Karachuonyo constituency has reawakened a natural wonder that has completely changed. Residents have over the last 1 month watched in amazement as flamingos from Lake Nakuru relocate to Houma Bay. Here now is KTN's Nyanza reporter Fredo Mulo bringing us that story of beauty bestowed upon a land already bringing with it.
The flamingos of Lake Nakuru have brought their majesty to the heart of the Nyanza Crescent. Engineers at the recently launched Aloch Kimera irrigation scheme diverted excess waters into this parcel of land after the short rains filled their dams, and their choice had this consequence.
They stay here as long as they are peaceful. But when people come to attack them, they fly away. Some go for good, some go for a few days and they come back.
The pink avians gradually came after their scouts gave them the okay in early September, rousing the residents.
We have been doing coverage for them because we don't want people to interfere with them. Because once you kill one, I don't know how sensitive they are. When they see one killed, they always fly away. So at times we protect them.
As expected, the nascent administration is fired up with plans of sustainably exploiting this resource, especially now that it is clear they can control the birds' movements.
We are going to secure it. We'll fence it. And once we fence it, we'll also use it as a source of generating income for us. The people will come in just to watch. We are going to invite schools, organizations and all that.
I don't know how they know, how the flamingos know. Where they know by osmosis. So they came into Ondago and they are now in plenty. And part of them are in Simbi.
Houma Bay County has the bulk of attractions in the Western tourism circuit and is poised to reap the rewards of devolution in the near future. For the last month, the government here has been talking about making this the county of choice, and it seems even the flamingos have been listening. With one group soaking up its summer right here and the other one at Lake Simbi Nyaima, things can only get better. From Houma Bay County, I am Fredo Mulo.
Right, we revisit our developing story where High Court began hearing the case of journalist Walter Barasa, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court over allegations of witness tampering. Barasa is seeking to have the arrest warrant issued against him revoked by the Kenyan government. Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Olelenku already received the warrant from the ICC and forwarded it to the judiciary. The courts granted Barasa state security until his case is heard and determined. And I now bring you Mohammed, who's been camping at the Milimani courts with the very latest regarding that particular matter. Good afternoon, Mahmoud.
Thank you very much, Bonny Tunya from our NewsDesk studios. Today there was the hearing of the petition that was presented by journalist where Walter saying that the case was to be has been postponed to tomorrow, and that is when the hearing will be done at 8:30 in the morning. But today the lawyer Kibe Mungai said that he was not given the right of his rights were not represented well, and also he was not given the right to see the contents of the ICC warrant of arrest, according to the state, and also the office of the DPP saying that the matter should be forwarded to the CJ or the principal judge so that to hear the extradition case against him. But according to his lawyer, the process of extradition, it was not fully followed to the constitution, so they are asking for him to be given the right to see the content of the warrant of arrest, and also the same time be given time so that the process, when they're following the process, so that he can know what's in the content of the case that is against him. So earlier he was the Minister of Internal Security Joseph Olelenku started the process of arresting him and handing him over to the ICC court based in The Hague. But him with his lawyers moved to court and present this petition to bar the ICC from the process of extradition. According to the ICC, Walter the journalist Walter is accused of meddling with some of the witnesses against Deputy President William Ruto Muliro on his case that is ongoing in the Hague-based court. So as a journalist based in Eldoret town, he has been having maybe some problems with security, and that is why yesterday the court gave a directive for the Inspector General of Police, David Kimayo, to give him 24-hour security so that at any given time no one is going to follow him and maybe arrest him and take him to the ICC-based court. According to his lawyer, Kibe Mungai, also, there are some of the ICC investigators currently in the country, and that is why he really needs the security that is being awarded until this case is going to be heard.
Right, Mahmoud Mohammed, many thanks for that update. Of course, we do know that a court yesterday issued 24-hour security to journalist Walter Barasa until this matter is determined. We also do know that the Attorney General has made it clear that the Kenyan government intends to comply with all the arrest warrant granted. They do follow the legal procedures of the law of the land. And of course, KTN is standing on top of that story to bring you all the latest as and when it unfolds, as it marks the developing story this afternoon. Now, there is need to invest more in mental health of senior citizens aged above 60 years. These were the remarks made by health stakeholders as they commemorated World Mental Health Day today. This year's theme focused on mental health for the elderly. Meanwhile, Health Cabinet Secretary Professor James Macharia warned of self-inflicted mental illness, especially among the youth.
In Africa, when we did some data, we found up to 40% of the total outpatient population do suffer from mental disorder. Children under 5, actually 3% have mental health problems which need attention.
A lot of the youth, especially young men, they are getting the disorder because of taking of drugs. That is self-inflicted, and we have to deal with it. And if you do that, I think the percentages the doctor is talking about will certainly go down. If you go like Mombasa, the coastal region is the most affected in terms of young men taking drugs. Thereafter they get into depression and they become sick. That is clearly avoidable.
Staying with matters of health, it is estimated that 215,000 people in Kenya are blind. Now, this with leading causes including cataract, trachoma, glaucoma, and diabetic-related complications. Children or childhood blindness is also to be fast growing in some parts of this country. And although little has been done to mitigate the problem, for this reason, the Seeing is Believing initiative was launched today in a partnership by the Ministry of Health, the Standard Chartered Bank, and the Fred Hallows Foundation. The 5-year project is aimed at ensuring that Kenya meets the recommended standards and coverage of child eye care services. The initiative was launched during the commemoration of the World Sight Day today.
The issue with childhood blindness is that the children may be few who are blind, but then those who survive might survive for 50 years plus. So they'll survive for a long period with blindness, with disability. So when we look in terms of workload and in terms of what it means in terms of money, childhood blindness is only second to cataract. That is the issue. The other thing is that in the last 10 years, we have focused mainly on adult-related blindness, and we have put a bit of neglect in the childhood blindness. But this time around, we are trying to focus more on childhood blindness.
We commence our county road trip in the Rift Valley, where one person has died and another sustained injuries following a grisly accident at the Salga area along the Eldoret-Nakuru highway. The accident that occurred at around 9 o'clock last night involved a pickup truck with 2 passengers on board and a lorry ferrying goods to Nairobi. The accident is reported to have occurred when the lorry was overtaking a vehicle before colliding head-on with the pickup, and a woman died on the spot while her business business employee who has sustained injuries was rushed to the Rift Valley Provincial Hospital for treatment. Salga Base Commander Alex Houma warned motorists against speeding as the area is marked as a black spot. The lorry driver vanished soon after the accident.
Wakati ya kufika hii area nasema ni black spot. Kwa hivyo magari yote wachi mwendo wa kasi. Hii magari ilikuwa natoka Eldoret na papanga mizigo kutoka airport. Inapitanga hapa usiku. Mchana huwezi ukaiona. Kwa hivyo ikifika hapa tunaapili kwa hiyo drivers yote wakifika hapa Salga waende mwendo pole pole.
Kwangu naweza sema lori kulingana na vinye tunazionaga mwendo yake sio mzuri. Hizo malori na zingine aina za blue.
Well, the Kenya Revenue Authority has intercepted a bizarre cargo this morning in Mombasa. About 40 boxes of household goods were found to contain plastic replicas of human limbs and other organs of animals associated with black magic, witchcraft or devil worship. Among the bizarre pieces found were models of beheaded bodies, human skulls, human limbs, bats, tarantulas, mummies, creations of ghosts, and tortured man being fed by rats while alive. The import of the goods is not yet established, but KRA says the preliminary investigations have linked their weird cargo to a senior politician.
As normal goods, the declaration had said normal household goods, but we subjected the container to 100% verification. And upon verification, we found some unconventional items which were not declared, but which do not fit the normal description of goods. Preliminary information gave us a name, a surname, which happens to be shared with a senior politician. So since we've not been able to establish exactly who the importer is, at this time it will be premature to name the importer.
Right, I'm looking for something intelligent to say after that story, but bizarre it is. We'll take a short break to catch my breath. More news coming up shortly.